Dreams are short, singing joyfully in an instant, like painting on a beam, swallows leaving the mud and nestling in emptiness. Keywords of the novel. Mud falling painting Liang Kong with no pop-ups, Mud falling painting Liang Kong TXT complete collection download, Mud falling painting Liang Kong latest chapter reading. Chapter 1. Mud falling and painting Liang Kong. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 1. Mud falling and painting Liang Kong. Ho ho, ho ho, ho ho, ho ho, ho ho, ho ho. The lover in the dream was scared away by the sound of sharpening his knife. As soon as Zhao Inorganic got excited, he opened his eyes and found himself tied up on the ground in various ways. The executioner was sharpening his knife not far away, with a blade of orchid and the sound of hua hua constantly reaching his ears. What does this mean? In a dream. The moment before, I was accompanied by a beautiful woman with a jade face and peach blossoms in my dream. Now, I am about to behead in hua hua. I frowned shyly, but fear reignited in my heart. A few elderly people with the same binding method next to them came over and whispered as they watched Zhao Inorganic. Wake up, be strong. Since ancient times, no one has died in life. Becoming a king in defeating a bandit, 18 years later becoming a hero again. Little prince, please ask your brother for mercy. I don't want to. Zhao Inorganic listened to the words around him in a daze. Have you really traveled through time? Was your predecessor still a rebellious little prince? Did your elder brother Zhao organically just ascend from the crown prince to the new emperor? Are you preparing to kill Zhao Inorganic and a group of villains? Zhao Inorganic, who had secretly accepted the fact of time travel, had no choice but to speak softly. Don't make any noise, let me think. The little prince's intention to rebel and seize the throne is a great crime at any time. Zhao Shower used to have a group of supporters, such as the white-bearded old man who was just about to die generously. The two brothers of the Zhao family used to compete fiercely, but after Zhao De took over Lao Zhao's National Black Flag Army, he defeated Zhao Er's group of followers. Zhao Er was also lured into prison by the forbidden military strategy. Now that the outcome has been decided, Zhao De takes office and Zhao Er comes to an end. Zhao Inorganic looked at a life-saving straw in front of him, and the small system screen displayed in his eye mask displayed. Zhao Inorganic 17 red strip, blue strip, so he secretly, quietly, silently, and even thoughtfully shouted, "System, dear father," and "old man" multiple times, hoping to communicate and request superpowers to resolve the current crisis. But ideals are full, reality is bone-like, the system is silent, there is no echo or change. When the execution was about to begin in half an hour, Zhao Inorganic was a bit scared out of control and couldn't help but speculate. Zhao Er was probably so scared that his soul flew away. In the end, I crossed over from Earth and took over his body. Zhao Inorganic seized the time and worked even harder to search through the chaotic memories of his predecessor. But Zhao Er, who was shrouded in mist and chaos, didn't have much memory. He only remembered playing water in the garden with the crown prince when he was 5 years old in his childhood. At that time, the crown prince fell into a fish tank, and as his younger brother, Zhao Er saved his brother by smashing a stone in the tank. Because it is unforgettable, is it clear in his memory? At this moment, the new emperor Zhao Wuchang had already stepped onto the monitoring and chopping platform step by step, and Zhao Wuchang shouted decisively, big brother, fish tank, big brother. Fish tank." After hearing this shout, Zhao Organo was completely stunned. He glanced at Zhao Organo a few times and waved his hand to lift him up to the temporary wooden platform. He squatted down and looked at Zhao Organo expressionlessly. "How long has it been since you called me big brother?" 3 years. 5 years. Zhao Wuchang dared not answer randomly because Zhao Er had too little information in his mind and was afraid of saying too much or making too many mistakes. He just looked at Zhao Wuchang with the most pitiful expression from the Oscar. Zhao organically looked at Zhao organically and didn't speak, then continued to say, "Since your father returned from being injured in northern Xinjiang, you have suddenly prepared to rebel. You have asked you many times about the reasons, and you have always sneered in response. Zhao Inorganic roast that his predecessor was stupid, but he still dared not answer. Zhao organically said with a bit of anger, the ministers suggested that I use the crime of endangering the country to behead you and your followers to avoid future troubles. It's not easy for me to save your life now. Zhao Inorganic worked very hard to squeeze out tears. I knew I was wrong. Zhao Organic's eyes flickered, and he continued to ask with a hint of mockery, you're probably afraid of death now, so you called me Big Brother to admit your mistake. Would it be a bit late? If I let you go, would it be like releasing a tiger back to the mountains? In a moment of desperation, Zhao Wuwu suddenly retrieved a fragment of Zhao Er's memory, revealing that his predecessor had been struck by puppetry a few years ago. I fell into the puppet art, and my memory became chaotic, incomplete, and blank. I just woke up, and now I only remember rescuing you from the tank. I can't remember anything else clearly. After hearing these words, Zhao Organo looked at Zhao Inorganic for a while, then at a group of old ministers kneeling and bound, and finally whispered to Zhao Inorganic, okay, whether what you say is true or false, I believe in you at this moment. We are brothers of the same mother. If you have saved me, I should have saved you too. I will crown you as the king of the barbarians and exile you to the wilderness, while others are temporarily imprisoned. What do you think? Zhao Inorganic didn't even think about it, so he nodded, willing. At present, Zhao Inorganic is mainly focused on saving his life and exploring system functions in the future. It is probably not a problem to be carefree for a lifetime. Okay, Zhao Organic said hello and immediately used the royal family law that ministers could not interfere with to issue orders. Zhao Inorganic was immediately loaded onto a large carriage and was only released from custody outside the imperial city. It seems that Zhao Er has indeed caused a lot of trouble for Zhaoda, and he still has a strong sense of threat, which is what makes the other party so careful. However, Zhao Er's memory was almost completely blank and he could not find any useful information, so he had to repeatedly study the system in front of him on the carriage. No matter how Zhao Inorganic called for stimulation, the system did not respond. The red and blue display bars on the screen in front of me are slowly rebounding, indicating that my physical and mental strength is recovering. Zhao Inorganic learned from the conversation of the guards that this world is not ordinary. In addition to the human continent, there are also the demon continent and the elf continent. The human continent is the largest, with numerous kingdoms. Some countries were established by ordinary humans, while others were established by barbarians. The current king of barbarians is the lord of the human city Jiangnan, located at the border between the northwest of the Zhao dynasty and the kingdom established by barbarians. For thousands of years, there has been a raging war. In order to declare sovereignty, the state of Zhao built a super military fortress there, which is called Jiangnan on the frontier internally and can also be called a barbaric city or a barbaric city externally. The city is far from the capital and full of various dangers. But as a newcomer to Earth, Zhao Inorganic had to rely on this dangerous place to temporarily save his life and gain the opportunity to excavate the system. End of this chapter. Chapter 2. Inexplicably borrowing thunder and lightning. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 2. Inexplicably borrowing thunder and lightning. The capital is far from the wilderness, and it takes several months to reach at the speed of a carriage. On the luxurious carriage, bored Zhao Inorganic searched for Zhao Er's experience of practicing lightning spells, with memories of practicing lightning spells. If you have nothing to do along the way, why not try this lightning spell? The result is satisfactory. In just a few days, the lightning spell can be barely used, with a power comparable to the low-power electric shock gun of the beautiful Earth. However, when using it, it requires both hands to lift it up like a V-shaped before casting the spell, which is a bit 2500. Zhao Inorganic felt embarrassed to show off in front of people, and his predecessor Zhao Er may have given up because this action was embarrassing and not very powerful. More than 10 days after the escort team left the imperial city, there were various requests from the so-called old troops, but they were all rejected by Zhao Inorganic. Seeing each other will reveal the truth and bring unnecessary suspicion from all parties. Why don't we just stop seeing each other and settle down in the future? Even if the past is like smoke, it's not necessarily a bad thing. Zhao Inorganic finished thinking and looked at the deputy commander of the Imperial Guards, Zhao Meiji, who was escorting the vehicle. Although this guy is a beautiful woman from his own family, even among his peers, he has become a great swordsman and an outstanding young man at a young age. Zhao Meiji led a group of female soldiers from the Forbidden Army to escort Zhao Inorganic to the exiled city of Jiangnan. I think the emperor's elder brother is still concerned about family ties and sent his own family to escort him, but it was not said to be a reduction in punishment. It was just said that the new emperor ascended the throne, granted amnesty to the world, and celebrated together. It's hard to understand. It is difficult for ordinary people to understand this connotation, but as a native, Zhao Meiji can understand it. Although Zhao Meiji is a female general, she has excellent swordsmanship, top-notch martial arts, and a special ability to quickly calm manic horses. Perhaps he knows the language of the horse demon, but such a genius would look at me with fearful eyes, which is a bit puzzling. Perhaps his predecessor was really so awesome. Through this period of observation, Zhao Inorganic deeply understands that the world is much more dangerous than the earth, and ordinary people need to live in the city walls at night. Even heroes with explosive strength and the ability to unleash themselves dare not live in the wilderness at night. This long road is obviously going to be full of crises. Earth Zhao has been kind-hearted since childhood, picking up every penny on the road and handing it over to the police uncle. So he kindly told Meiji, there's no need to rush at night, it's better to stay in when there's a city. You are still a prisoner now, and you will only be able to regain your personal freedom in the wilderness city. Would you be willing to go earlier or later? Zhao Inorganic listened to these words with tenderness, but secretly there was a strong urge to strive forward. I had no choice but to face reality and continue silently tinkering with lightning techniques on the carriage, but in the starry night, I hurried on. From the appearance, the horses pulling the cart are only slightly stronger and stronger than those on Earth, without any other special features. But one night, Zhao Inorganic watched with his own eyes as the horse on the right spat out a blazing fire and turned the horse companion on the left into human fireworks. Under strong stimulation, Inorganic remembered that Zhao Irours had hunted a pig that could speak human language in the royal hunting ground. If it were just a dream, it would be great. Wake up and everything will be normal. Unfortunately, no matter how Zhao Inorganic slept, got drunk, or pinched his thighs, he couldn't feel like returning to Earth. She was also treated by Zhao Meiji as having an episode of autism, and would pull open the curtain every few hours to ask Zhao Inorganic whether she was hungry, tired, and drank water. After more than 10 days, Zhao Inorganic's thunder power was barely able to cure the horse demon that was spitting fire obediently. As soon as I saw Zhao Inorganic, I would come forward to please and shout a few times, "Shelve, shelve." Zhao Inorganic didn't understand the meaning of this horse language, but if Zhao Meiji heard such a voice, she would come out from some dark corner and say, "Zhao, you are so charming. Don't mess around with your horse, okay?" Zhao Inorganic was not actually deliberately tinkering, he just wanted to test whether the lightning power output could establish a certain functional relationship with the red and blue bars. Another month later, the team arrived at the outskirts of the central capital city, and Zhao Meiji finally couldn't resist Zhao Inorganic's cries of, "Sister, sister." Agree to lead a small team of people into the central capital city known as the Magic City. Of course, the small team just walked in from the north gate and left straight along the city road from the south gate. But at first glance, Zhao Inorganic car had many more books on it. Zhao Meiji knew that Zhao Inorganic was a bookworm when she was young, so she accepted Zhao Inorganic's request to empty a small bookstore. Otherwise, Zhao Inorganic will act recklessly, saying that he is hungry and tired, and will have to eat and sleep in the city. Given the warning of the new emperor, staying in the city is one of the unavoidable things, just like not allowing Zhao Inorganic to come into contact with the old tribe. Inorganic has done these things very well. If they can persist all the way, perhaps the two brothers will have a day of reconciliation. Inorganic used to be an organic follower, smart and without ambition, but suddenly became full of scheming to compete for the throne. Zhao Dazing instructed Meiji, send him to the furthest edge and let him tinker around. As for those unspoken words, as a relative, Meiji could understand them, but before entering the wilderness, Zhao Wuwu was not allowed any chance to turn things around. After flipping through all the books he had bought on the moving carriage, Zhao Inorganic felt that this planet could still be cherished for a while, and there was no hope of awakening from his self-destructive actions. Sister Meiji was quite pleased, and then she sent more books, more parchment rolls, and other items into the spacious carriage. With a systematic display of vitality and spiritual power, Inorganic has gradually surpassed its predecessor in practicing thunder technique. Through multiple theoretical and practical analyses, it has been confirmed that the longer the blue bar, the easier it is to use lightning strikes. But the method of cultivating spiritual power was comprehended by Zhao Inorganic after extensive reading, and then combined with his predecessor Fu, he created the unique skill of borrowing electricity. That feeling was like Lei Li was originally infinite, but cleverly borrowed and could be used from Zhao Inorganic's hands. However, the actual situation still needs further exploration. End of this chapter. Chapter 3. Yanshan Moon like a hook. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 3 Yanshan Moon like a hook. Although as long as the mental power blue bar is long enough, the more power can be used, the foolishness of holding up both hands and aiming at the target during casting has made Zhao Wurong determined, don't use it until it's urgent. Fortunately, the journey was smooth sailing, and in just over 3 months, there was no opportunity to show off. After entering the wilderness border, although still far from the wilderness city, no one gained the right to stroll outside the carriage. On both sides of the wilderness road, besides wasteland, there are swamps with sparse human habitation, and there are relay stations for supplies every few days. In the wilderness, there are demon wolves capable of blowing wind blades, as well as various monster eagles and birds that can scream and cause chaos, as well as spit out small fireballs and water balls. The more the horse team advanced, the more they encountered, and Zhao Inorganic began to feel the crisis of exile. If it weren't for the escort team, it wouldn't be easy for ordinary people to walk in the wilderness. In fact, the escort team has also begun to see injured personnel. Due to the fact that Zhao Meiji led a team mainly composed of female soldiers, although her martial arts were decent, her combat power plummeted when facing the endless variety of monsters in the wilderness. The female soldiers in the team are mostly relatives of the imperial family, loyal enough, but their combat power is insufficient. Only Meiji and the 2 grooms can be called experts, while the others are still a bit powerless against monsters. On the 6th day of entering the wilderness, the Inorganic applied for a long bow for self-defense. When the team was jointly attacked by Wind Wolf and Fire Eagle, they defended the entire sky with 1 person and 1 bow. This is because Zhao Inorganic added a special thunder symbol to the arrow. Lei Fu was engraved on the tip of the arrow by combining the principle of earth batteries and using the talisman method here. Once the target is hit and triggered, it can explode like a mine, electrocuting a small fire eagle. Whenever encountering the overwhelming fire eagle attack, Zhao Inorganic's bow and arrow hit one of the targets, and the lightning talisman exploded to shock the surrounding targets, which was more beautiful and effective than the 250 lightning spell. With the addition of independent archers, everyone is full of hope for reaching Jiangnan on the frontier without injury. Zhao Meiji felt that there was still room for strength in the inorganic world, but she had already defended the sky. It was enough for everyone to free up their fighting spirit to deal with the ground wind wolf and ice wolf. Ordinary wolves will not cause trouble for the Imperial Guards. But the demon wolf can do it. The wind blade and ice blade are very hurtful, and if you get a little distracted during battles, it can cause serious injuries. Even if you hit a weak spot like Meiji, it can be fatal. Now with Zhao Inorganic's air defense capabilities, the team is slowly advancing through the wilderness with excellent equipment and relying on the relay stations on the road. Decades later, the station troops in the wilderness of Jiangnan finally joined forces with Meiji and her entourage. The crowd with a significant increase in military strength accelerated their advance and smoothly entered the barbarian city with a protective formation half a month later. The lord of the original city of Mancheng is called Zhao Yun, who is also a member of the royal family. He is the uncle of the inorganic beauty queen and has been stationed on the border for more than 10 years. After entering the wilderness city, Inorganic restored his status as a prince according to the imperial decree, was awarded the title of King of Wilderness, and became the new lord of the Jiangnan on the frontier city. Zhao Inorganic, who had traveled through time, never rebelled at all. He secretly understood his weight, so he openly stated, "I'll just pretend to be a fake job, and everything else will be fine as usual." Zhao Inorganic's statement made the high-level officials in the city breathe a sigh of relief. Because the emperor had already secretly ordered Zhao Yun through special means, "If my only imperial brother is rebellious, you can leave secretly and never harm my brother. You can report to me and handle it." Therefore, if Zhao Wuno rebelled, it would make the military and political forces in the city very embarrassed. After expressing his position, Zhao Inorganic completely returned to personal freedom. The wild city is relatively safe under the protection of the Great Formation. As long as Zhao Wuno does not leave the wild land, as the king of the wild, he can basically do as he pleases. It is not pleasing for the barbarian army to cross the Yanshan Mountains, Black Forest, Blackwater River, and moats to attack the Great Formation. But they also often conduct surprise attacks and disturbances on humans in the Black Forest by sending small teams. Therefore, it is difficult for the human race in the wilderness to carry out various productions outside the city, and only some goblin, dwarf, and black elf tribes can rely on their talents to make a living outside the city. These special creatures are the lubricant of the Zhao people and the barbarians, and thousands of years of mutual exchange have relied on these small tribes to mediate. Of course, there are also many races of creatures in the city, which greatly broaden Zhao Inorganic's horizons. The black elves with angelic faces and devilish figures, the dwarves who monopolize the manufacturing of weapons in the barbaric city, and the goblins with abundant wealth have left Zhao Inorganic overwhelmed. Goblin auction pawn shops are generally not popular in human cities, but they are very popular in the wilderness, probably because there are many adventurers in the wilderness who can provide many opportunities. End of this chapter. Chapter 4. Ronghua has its own right and wrong. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 4. Ronghua has its own right and wrong. Goblin auction pawn shops are not very mainstream in human society, but they are very popular in the wilderness. Perhaps it is because there are many adventurers in the wilderness city, and the goblin auction and pawn shops generate a lot of taxes in the wilderness city, bringing a lot of income to the city. It should be noted that the money and food of the city army are directly allocated by the central government, but ordinary public security management and other issues still need to be solved by oneself. Although Zhao Inorganic's city lord is just a fake job, he is usually informed of major events, so Zhao Inorganic is also aware of some financial situations in the city. Of course, as long as Zhao Yun is still serving as the executive city lord in the city, there will be no problems. In the future, he will probably return to his hometown and the person who comes to take over will be a capable person, without Zhao Inorganic needing to worry. After thousands of years of development, the ordinary population of the city has reached nearly 1 million, including elves, dwarves, and goblins, so it is not easy to take care of all aspects. For example, although the elves here carry a black letter, they still stand tall and do not regard humans as their eyes. It is said that black elves were originally elves living in the Black Forest, and although they share the same bloodline as elves in the elf continent, their beliefs have changed. Zhao Inorganic has free time, just like Lu Baobao strolling around the city after entering the Grand View Garden. Everything he sees is scenery, everything he sees is surprise. Zhao Meiji had no choice but to take a female soldier with her, disguised as a bodyguard, and occasionally appeared as a ground companion. The main task is naturally to ensure the personal safety of Zhao Inorganic according to the Emperor's requirements. Although Zhao Organ couldn't be described as having a grand plan, he grew up with Inorganic from a young age and had some doubts about his younger brother's abnormalities in recent years. Therefore, after Inorganic revealed his puppet technique on the execution ground, Zhao Organ immediately prepared countermeasures. Let Meiji and the two experts in the guard, while ensuring the safety of the Inorganic, work hard to find the people behind the Inorganic who want to rebel and eliminate hidden dangers for the Empire. The planned wilderness is the most attractive place for these people to appear. Unfortunately, the current Zhao Inorganic came from the modern society on Earth, and he has little interest in rebellions. Therefore, I have not received or contacted any former members of Zhao Inorganic. After monitoring several people from Zhao Inorganic and reporting the situation on the way to the new and old emperors, the two of them also felt a bit puzzled. Could it be that Zhao Inorganic has really reformed his ways? Zhao Inorganic didn't know what Zhao Organic and the old man thought, but this exotic journey finally began safely. There are various spells in this world, and I can even use Thunderbolt when I have sufficient mental power. However, the system may not be owned by the former Inorganic, and it may not be known by the people here. As the second prince, as long as there is no rebellion and the emperor's brother is still alive, I estimate we can live a very prosperous life in the future. There are also many specialty products in the wizard shops in the barbarian city, but Zhao Inorganic didn't have much money in his pocket, so he couldn't buy anything. He could only look east and west, and before he knew it, a day had passed. Returning to the palace in the evening, I searched around and unfortunately only found a few copper coins in a corner. So I shamelessly asked Meiji for money again, and Meiji still looked business-oriented. Just tell me what you want, your brother said he can't give you money. Can't we just make some adjustments? You can send a message to your brother through military communication, and it's not difficult to report it. Okay, I'll figure it out myself. This conversation had already been held several times on the way here, and Zhao Inorganic thought that there would be some changes when he arrived in the city, but the result was that he was too naive. I don't know what Emperor Go is thinking, he insists on using his own silver when buying things. Zhao Inorganic sighed helplessly in secret. In this situation of having no worries about food and clothing, it's really embarrassing to ask for money from the person who wants to be head. End of this chapter. Chapter 5. The Fox in Chaos. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 5. The Fox in Chaos. I heard there is a black elf tribe in the Black Forest, and I heard it's a six-tailed fox from the demon continent. I heard that these foxes can transform into human form, but time cannot last long, and their demonic aura is often exposed by high-level hunters. Therefore, they only confuse adventurers, hunters, etc. in the Black Forest and dare not enter the wild city. The demon continent is quite hostile to the human continent. It is said that the nine-tailed fox can often infiltrate the human continent and improve their cultivation by eating people's hearts. As for whether there are nine-tailed fox in the wild Black Forest, only heaven knows. Zhao Meiji didn't know that Zhao Inorganic was having wild thoughts, but there were still some words in the official residence that were correcting Zhao Inorganic. The city of barbarism is a folk term, and in official terms, it is called Jiangnan on the frontier. What is the name of my barbarian king? Still the king of the wilderness, because the wilderness city is just a city named Jiangnan on the frontier. Your wilderness king is the king of the entire wilderness, personally bestowed by the emperor. However, whether those barbarians, goblins, and black elves recognize you depends on your future efforts. Mage, yeah, do you have money? Lend me some. No. Zhao Inorganic slipped out again and walked into a weapons store. Zhao Meiji casually waited outside a cafe while drinking coffee. This inorganic approach is quite clever. As a poor man, who does not reveal his identity, he is safe in this military-controlled border. Judging from his current state and mentality, he will follow the instructions of the new emperor tomorrow and withdraw his protection on the surface. The ordinary arrows in the weapons store are not expensive, they are sold one by one. But some armor-piercing arrows with talismans and cloud-piercing arrows with talismans are sold one by one. Many are 1 silver coin per stick. A silver coin is almost a month's living expenses for a lower-class person. Zhao Inorganic took a few copper coins, bought a few ordinary arrows, and then secretly added a self-created lightning symbol in the shop owner's eyes. He then handed it to the shop owner to try the effect and see how much it was worth. The shop owner rolled his eyes over and over, but he didn't look handsome and didn't seem to be joking. So he tested it carefully and was startled to say that, "I'll spend 5 copper coins each to purchase. If you only provide me with 7 copper coins is also acceptable. 5 copper coins, let's not monopolize. How about giving you 10 first?" In just a moment, Inorganic earned 5 silver coins, and after running to more than 10 weapon stores, he had a few more gold coins in his hand. This arrow with anesthetic effect is a simplified version of Zhao Inorganic Lightning Talisman Arrow, and on site production is not afraid of everyone learning. There are already very few people in this world who have the power of thunder and lightning, and there are not many people who can draw talismans. Therefore, these types of products in weapon stores are relatively expensive. At the end of the day, Zhao Inorganic wandered around the horse racing and dog racing fields. When he returned to the palace at night, he already had dozens of gold coins. Meiji was not only surprised but also looked down upon with disdain on her face. A prince who goes to engage in these vulgar activities, but loses face with the royal family, really wants to just give him gold coins. The next day at dawn, Zhao Inorganic ran out again, and Meiji no longer followed. Whether the people behind the scenes will follow or not is decided by the emperor, so I won't have to watch a prince run horses and gamble on dogs again, which would embarrass me. Zhao Inorganic saw that there was no one following him, so he bought a good bow and a few dozen ordinary arrows. He used Zhao Inorganic's pseudonym in the Adventurer Guild and left the city with a makeshift team. After hearing the report, Zhao Meiji quickly sought instructions on how to handle it through military communication. "Someone is protecting you secretly, Meiji, you don't have to worry about it. Zhao Inorganic doesn't know these things. If he doesn't declare his identity in this city, he's like an ordinary passerby." As for their appearance, almost all adventurers are bearded and easily confused when looking at each other seriously. Besides, this advanced archer is a bit aloof and indifferent in the team, let alone unnoticed. This adventure team is hunting bears in the Black Forest to earn money, probably because bears are more valuable. However, if they encounter a demon bear, will they be wiped out by the team? Can I run away? Of course, if you can hunt it, you won't have to worry about regular food and drink for a year, but everyone still hopes not to encounter it. End of this chapter. Chapter 6. How to Provoke Dust. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 6. How to Provoke Dust. The captain of the adventure team is called Long Sanshao, the deputy is called Wu Shousheng, and there are also 2 people who appear to be pseudonyms, Lu Rinjia and Lu Rini. Coupled with Zhao Inorganic, the 5-person, 5-horse, and 3 hunting dogs are much stronger than ordinary hunters. Lu Rinjia and Lu Rini are a pair of siblings, with younger sisters around 20 years old. They are quite agile and don't look much like adventurers. They are responsible for the temporary medical treatment of injuries in the team. Make do with it, especially since it's my first time hunting and I have no work experience. It's good if others don't dislike me. What qualifications do I have to dislike others? The southern city of the Yangtze River is quite far from the Black Forest, and 5 people followed the post road and rode fast for a day before arriving. It's not even 100 miles away, it's already 80 miles away, right? There is a small inn operated by elves by the forest, which is not expensive and costs 1 copper coin per small room. The waiter doesn't look like a fairy, with a demonic aura in it. It feels a bit like a fox spirit. Zhao Inorganic, who was slightly afraid of thinking, kept the door closed all night and didn't even receive a piece of paper. The next morning, the forest was sunny, with birds singing and flowers fragrant. If it weren't for a few adventurers covered in blood entering the store, it would be a peaceful and pleasant scenery. Several guys with blood-stained faces are all from the same squad. It is said that he went hunting wild boars, but ended up encountering a demon pig and was almost hunted back. Later, he escaped to an elf outpost to save his life. Captain, continue to tell everyone this black forest is huge, with barbarians and humans each occupying a small portion of the hunting ground. Except for the elf tribe, it is an uninhabited area. Except for the elves, don't provoke them lightly. Everything else can be hunted. If a barbarian's head is handed over to the Border Defense Army, at least 1 gold coin can be obtained. If captured alive and brought back to Jiangnan, there can be a few gold coins. But if humans are caught by barbarians, it is also worth this price. It is said that the price of elves is higher, but no one dares to provoke elves at the home of elves like Black Forest. You must not provoke them, otherwise you will be abandoned. The captain chattered as he walked, and soon entered the bear hunting area of the human hunting area according to the map. Zhou Inorganic and Lu Rini first climbed to the tree to hide and set an ambush, and then the three of us advanced to pull out the hatred. The three of them only shouted loudly for a moment, leading a huge angry black bear to run back. Zhou Inorganic fired lightning talisman arrows rhythmically, constantly electrifying the black bear, which was the size of 3 horses. Finally, with everyone's cooperation, they successfully hunted and killed it. Captain Long violently patted Zhou Inorganic's shoulder and loudly said, "Mr. Zhou, it's great, it's great. You're using your arrow technique so well." In less than 3 days, the 5 of them dragged a big black bear back to the barbaric city of Jiangnan and sold it for about 30 gold coins, with each person sharing 5 gold coins. The rest went to the team leader. Because the whole thing was planned and prepared by him, he naturally contributed the most. Captain Long led everyone to a medium-sized bar and confidently said, "I'll take care of all the food and drink. It's up to you to have fun and find girls." After that, he disappeared and chatted with the female elf who opened the store, probably just an old relationship. Lu Rinjia even estimated that Captain Long had an affair with the shop owner. However, it is said that humans and elves still have a certain level of reproductive isolation, making it easy to exercise and difficult to have a mixed race. A few people drank until almost early morning, and then they dispersed and went back to their homes. The alcohol content of this barbarian city's beer is higher than that of Earth's beer and lower than that of red wine. It is said to be a green food brewed with honey. Zhou Inorganic drank a lot, as if he wasn't drunk yet. The next day, when she woke up in the palace and had breakfast at the dining table, Zhao Meiji seemed to casually say a lot of things to pay attention to in the Black Forest. Zhao Inorganic had no choice but to flatter her by calling Magia many times to stop the conversation. End of this chapter. Chapter 7. Elfyao Little Sister, you are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 7. Elfyao Little Sister, wearing a secret silver inner armor gifted by Zhao Meiji, Zhao Inorganic returned to the Adventurers Guild. The two of them, Lu Rinjia and Lu Rini, were also present, but did not see Long San Xiaowu. This time, the team is formed by a fairy Yao girl who is going to the Heishui River to hunt crocodiles and make her own soft armor. She successfully hunted 2 gold coins per person, but failed with 2 silver coins per person. With a teammate named Jubiai, a group of 2 men and 3 women ran non-stop for 2 days and a night to reach the Blackwater River flowing out from the edge of the Black Forest. Everyone took a break and started preparing for work. The traps and bait were all planned and arranged by Yao Xiaomei. After catching a few wild chickens and setting them up, crocodiles came up in less than half an hour. But suddenly 2 came, it's unclear whether they were a couple or a mother-daughter, one big and one small. One of them clearly showed a fierce look, suspected to be a demon crocodile. Watching one of them fall into the trap, but the demon crocodile is guarding beside them, and the one in the pit is about to crawl out. Yao Xiaomei never dared to shout for help. They were all people in the early stages of qi refining, and one of them needed to use a trap. Now, there is still one demon beast between the two, so everyone hesitated. Zhao Inorganic thought for a moment, and instead used his strongest lightning arrow to shoot a series of arrows, sealing off all angles that the demon crocodile could avoid. The arrow was fast and urgent, and one of them lived up to expectations by inserting it into the body of the demon crocodile. The lightning talisman exploded in an instant, and the demon crocodile became noticeably numb. Just as it was about to take power, the second one arrived again. By analogy, everyone quickly seized the golden opportunity, summoned by their swords and spears, and finally cut the demon crocodile into flesh and mud before Zhao Inorganic used up his lightning arrows, successfully obtaining a crocodile skin. Yao Xiaomei was very excited and happy. She kissed Zhao Inorganic several times in front of everyone. Zhao Inorganic wiped the elf saliva on her mouth and said, "Hurry up and pack up and leave. If you come again, I won't be able to do anything. My arrows have already run out." In the end, everyone safely returned to Jiangnan on the frontier. Yao Xiaomei fulfilled her treatment and then took everyone to the shop yesterday. Yao Xiaomei said, "The boss is my sister, and I'll take care of everything you eat and drink." Zhao Inorganic didn't drink much honey wine this time, but she quickly got drunk. It seemed like she had rolled the sheets with Yao Xiaomei, and then she was carried home by Zhao Meiji with the sheets. The next day, I woke up to find that I had slept all night with the sheets wrapped around me, and there were plum blossoms on the sheets. Zhao Inorganic arrived at the restaurant feeling a bit uneasy. Sure enough, Zhao Meiji and Zhao Yun were both waiting. Zhao Inorganic quickly explained, "That was an accident, absolutely an accident." Zhao Meiji said, "After discussing last night, we have already reported that your fiancée A.E. Shengwan Fian has planned to come from the Anong Protectorate. Do you remember her?" Zhao Yun saw that Zhao Inorganic's confusion did not seem to be fraudulent, so he slightly analyzed and said, "Shengwan Fian is the youngest daughter of the Prime Minister Shengwan Wu. She has been engaged to you since childhood, and after your intention, she was placed under house arrest. Now that you are crowned king, they have regained their freedom." Zhao Inorganic secretly admired his predecessor in his heart and was about to speak. But Zhao Yun continued to talk, "You'd better be mentally prepared for what happened last night. Yao Xiaomei is the granddaughter of the Elf King. On the surface, she stays in Jiangnan as a partner of the Elf Bar, but in reality, she is the granddaughter of the old Elf King and the official representative of the Black Forest Elf tribe in the Wilderness City." Zhao Inorganic looked at Zhao Yun's dirty face and suddenly felt his head was so big. He hastily ate breakfast and then returned to his room. End of this chapter. Chapter 8. The People Riding Turtles. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 8. The People Riding Turtles. As a young man of the new century on Earth, Zhao Inorganic did not initially feel that the situation was serious. Now that he knows about the rise to the status of barbarian king and diplomatic personnel's love affair, he suddenly has a big head. Report, the envoy of the Elf King is in the reception hall, requesting to see our king. Okay, the awkward situation came so quickly. Yao Xiaomei stood in the reception hall dressed in elf attire, while the others were stopped by Meiji outside the door. Zhao Inorganic leaned over and asked softly, "Are you okay?" Yao Xiaomei pinched the inorganic ear and said, "Is that okay?" Zhao Inorganic almost begged for mercy in pain, "I am the king of the wilderness, give me some face." Yao Xiaomei has an angry expression on her face, "Did your person come into my bedroom in the middle of the night and take you away from my bed, giving you face?" Inorganic quickly covered Yao Xiaomei's mouth and whispered softly, "You can't blame me for this, it's definitely not my idea." Yao Xiaomei pinched the inorganic ear again, "I don't blame you, do I have the face to blame the person who took you away?" Inorganic was in pain and gritted his teeth, but he felt that the words were a bit ambiguous, so he could only vaguely say, okay, blame me, blame me. It's my fault, I shouldn't have provoked you." At an extremely awkward moment, two elves outside and Zhao Yun entered together. Zhao Yun joked that, "Is Miss Yao a formal visit to my king or a private meeting? If it's a private date, I'll avoid it for a moment." Yao Xiaomei changed her posture and answered very formally, "Lord Zhao Yun, I am seeking to see you in my official capacity, of course it is for official business. According to our tribe's Xinbao, the elite teams of barbarians infiltrated the Black Forest in batches with impure motives. Please prepare early, Lord." After finishing speaking, Yao Xiaomei casually snorted at Zhao Inorganic and turned around to take Zhu Beibei and the two of them away. Zhao Yun and Zhao Meiji in the living room suddenly stared at inorganic matter with all four eyes. It took a while for Zhao Yun to break the silence. "Inorganic nephew, your strategy is impressive. I have been in the barbarian city for more than 10 years, and it is rare for elves to formally report barbarian updates to us. Do you have any next plans?" Inorganic rubbed the ear that was almost torn off by Yao Xiaomei and said. Yun Shumi smiled and said, "This is really unexpected. I'm new here, what plans can I have?" Zhao Yun and Zhao Meiji exchanged a few glances. "Okay, let's have a meeting at our intelligence station." Zhao Inorganic immediately used an excuse to slip away and quickly caught up with Yao Xiaomei. "Inorganic, don't run around and pay attention to safety. The elite barbarians infiltrate the Black Forest, and 99% of them are trying to deal with you. I am responsible for dealing with your human race. It was only after you were taken away by Zhao Meiji that I found out you were the new king. Therefore, I guess there are barbarian spies in your palace because the barbarians already know about you, and maybe even you went to the Black Forest before. I'm a bit surprised to hear that Inorganic, the barbarians have dispatched elite troops to lurk in the Black Forest, most likely to ambush Prince Zhao Inorganic. Whether Prince Zhao is captured or killed, it will cause significant damage to the reputation of the state of Zhao. The inorganic theory. After thinking it through, I will try my best to make them never come back." Yao Xiaomei hugged Zhao Inorganic's arm and shook it a few times, saying, "I'm Wang Weiwu. I'll help you, come with me, show you a few things." Inorganic in Yao Xiaomei's boudoir, looking at a detailed map of the all-black forest. "You said this map costs 10,000 gold coins, 10,000 gold coins or the price with added favor. I don't have that much money, why don't I make a promise with my own life?" Yao Xiaomei pulled the inorganic material onto the bed and said, "Okay, 1 copper coin at a time, you can pay the balance in about 3,000 years. Now, let's start by collecting some interest. The spring scenery is a bit overwhelming." For a moment Zhu Beibei, who was outside the door, closed the small door and thoughtfully hung a "Do Not Disturb" sign before leaving slightly. After the clouds and rain of Wushan, the apology attitude is decent. "I'll show you the map for free once, and you can remember as much as you want, but it's only for your knowledge. There are secrets related to our tribe in the map that cannot be known to outsiders." Suddenly, Zhu Beibei's voice came from outside the door. "The person riding the turtle is here." "What? Who is the person riding a turtle?" Yao Xiaomei hurriedly tidies up the sheets. "Hurry up and hide, my dad is here." End of this chapter. Chapter 9. Who is afraid of saying hearts? You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 9. Who is afraid of saying hearts? After a moment, Yao Xiaomei's father had already landed in front of her door with a white crane sitting there. Yao Xiaomei pushed Zhao Inorganic into the wardrobe while saying, "My dad always complains that he rides the white crane slowly, so he named it Turtle. We all laugh at him as a turtle rider." Yao's father was a passerby who stood outside his daughter's door and didn't enter. He just spoke in a normal voice, "My baby is growing up." Yao Xiaomei quickly went out and shook the arm of this handsome male elf who was even more handsome than Inorganic. "It seems you're not ready to introduce him to me yet." Yao Xiaomei pushes dad onto the white crane. "He is the new king of the wasteland, and the fewer people who know him now, the better." Yao's father is also very reasonable. "I have seen the image and it's okay, but you don't have to be nervous. Now the barbarian empire has seemingly integrated its internal conflicts and gradually advanced towards the barbarians, but its strength is still not as strong as that of the Zhao kingdom. If we stand on the side of humanity, they will definitely lose, so they will definitely win us over. I'll leave first and take it to show your mother when I have time. Yao Xiaomei looked at her handsome father flying high and mighty, and couldn't help but admire the sacrifices of the clan, which she said to herself when she was a child, you are destined to have a human race, but you are not afraid to speak your heartstrings. Yao Xiaomei opened the wardrobe and released Zhao Inorganic. I can personally help you with anything, and we elves won't stand on the side of barbarians, but maybe we won't help the human race either because we hate war very much. After the two finished chatting, Inorganic was ready to sneak back to their palace bedroom. Zhao Yun and Meiji seemed to have accidentally bumped into each other and appeared in front of Inorganic. Young man, did you come back so soon? Inorganic was forcibly brought to the conference hall by 2.5 people in the conference hall. There were 2 soldiers dressed in neat military uniforms and sitting upright. Looking at the shoulder badge, one is a major general, one is a colonel. The major general is a handsome old man, and the colonel is a beautiful woman. Old Li is Director Li of the Wilderness Department of the Imperial Intelligence Department, while Xiao Lu is Director Lu of the Military Intelligence Bureau of the Wilderness Garrison. Inorganic doesn't quite understand these divisions, but they roughly understand what Zhao Yun means. These 2 people are the highest leaders in the field of intelligence in the wilderness. One belongs to the country, and the other belongs to the barbaric border army. However, there are not many female soldiers in the barbaric border army. After everyone's communication, it is still recommended that Inorganic try to avoid leaving barbaric cities as much as possible for the benefit of the empire. Zhao Inorganic smiled. As long as you clear the weasels on our side as soon as possible, barbarians cannot set an ambush on me. I am confident in ensuring personal safety in the Black Forest. Zhao Yun and Zhao Meiji agreed and nodded. There is a fairy named Yao Xiaomei, and the probability of inorganic accidents in the Black Forest is not high. It is said that the Elf King clan has some special abilities that are difficult for the human race to understand. Especially in the forest, they can communicate with flowers, plants, and trees to obtain abilities similar to prophets. After the meeting, Zhao Yun gave a Mishu ring to Inorganic. This is something I, as your elder, have given you. It contains a set of soft armor and some secret techniques passed down by the Zhao family. Although you were guilty on the way here, according to the Emperor's decree, you were restored to the treatment of the second prince upon arrival. Now uncle is giving you a small gift, hoping that you will grow up quickly. I will also be worthy of the Zhao clan temple when I return to Beijing in the future. After everyone left, Inorganic went back to the dormitory and tried to activate the Mishu ring according to Zhao Yunjiao's method, removing the objects inside. Suddenly, a voice rang out in Zhao Inorganic's mind, discovering dissimilarity space in the system. Is it alienated? Inorganic. For a while, I was curious. This system doesn't respond to any normal calls. How could it turn on itself today? Zhao Inorganic, who seized the opportunity, tried dozens of communication methods, but it only sounded like one sentence. Discovering dissimilarity space in the system. Is it alienated? Zhao Inorganic looked at the sky with small screens in his eyes. What exactly does alienation mean? End of this chapter. Chapter 10. Scarlet Drunken Charm. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 10. Scarlet Drunken Charm. Is that right? A silver progress bar quickly appeared at the bottom of the small screen, with approximately 1% displaying gold. Other than that, there has been no change. Zhao Inorganic was very fortunate to have taken out the soft armor from the ring first, otherwise he would have suffered a huge loss. According to common sense, when this silver strip turns all gold, it should bring some benefits to oneself. Just like when the red bar shows full space, it can affect the range of bows and arrows, while when the blue bar shows full space, it can more effectively release lightning spells. What exactly this silver progress bar represents is unclear. The system is too cold and feels like it's constantly changing. These two effects have already gained many benefits from being exiled to the wilderness. As for whether anyone has seen through it, it is unknown. During the day in the Black Forest, most areas are also dim and dark. The giant tree that penetrates directly into the clouds is shading the sun. After leaving a letter, Zhao Inorganic followed Yao Xiaomei into the Black Forest. It is said that the inevitable step after the elf blind date is to seek the personal opinion of the Moonlight Elder in the lower clan under the moonlight. Zhao Yun and Zhao Meiji looked at the message and were speechless. Let's follow the original rules and report it 10 days after leaving the city. After all, he is also a prince now and should have some autonomy. Yao Xiaomei brought Inorganic into the Black Forest, and the next day she told Inorganic, there is a human expert from behind who is tracking us. Inorganic smiled and turned around to shout, whoever is protecting me is fine, but don't let the elf sister know, and I don't know yet, is that okay? In an instant, a person who was black everywhere except for his eyes, knelt down on one knee in front of Zhao Inorganic. Empire Tianzi no. 7. See Little Prince. In the forest, I cannot avoid the perception of the elf royal family. You are quite honest, don't worry, your prince's safety in the Black Forest is guaranteed by our clan. Due to the following routes involving our tribe's secrets, either you are waiting here for your prince's return, or you can directly wait for us at the Elf Inn outside the Black Forest. On the 7th day of the Tianzi reign, you'd better go directly to the Elf Hotel and wait. You can also return to the city directly. When you report, just follow my Yao diplomat's instructions and report directly. Yao Xiaomei twisted Zhao Inorganic's waist and said, you're a diplomat, your whole family is a diplomat. After speaking, I couldn't help but burst into laughter. Tianzi No. 7 had to stay in place with a slight awkwardness, as he was a skilled Tianzi player in the Black Flag Army. Since the previous Inorganic rebellion, he has been designated by the old emperor to participate in the surveillance team. Now it is the first time he has been discovered, which is a bit awkward. However, it also indirectly indicates that the perception ability of the elf royal family in the forest is beyond imagination. Did you leave on the 7th day? I didn't leave or follow, I jumped onto a big tree and hid there. Why can you make such a precise judgment? I can't say this now, but if you get the approval of the Moon Elder, she will naturally tell you. If you don't get the Moon Elder's approval, it can only be the two of us dating, and you can't go to our elf clan anymore. Yao Xiaomei felt a bit sad after saying this, because the lifespan of elves can easily reach several hundred or several thousand years. Just like this month, they are almost 2,000 years old, much longer than humans. If Zhao Inorganic cannot be recognized by the elven royal family and cannot be granted longevity spring water, then it will only be a decades-long fate with him, and in the end, it will be a scene of intoxication with a crimson color. Only Nanku has a dream, so we must strive to gain the appreciation of the Moonlight Elder. End of this chapter.